The two latest updates out of Detroit have left Lions fans bouncing between concern and relief. On one side, a lingering injury is starting to seriously affect one of the key protectors of Jared Goff. On the other, a sudden scare nearly sidelined the team's top offensive weapon. And all of this right before the most anticipated matchup of the season. It feels like the team is walking a tightrope between strength and vulnerability. And what Dan Campbell had to say about Taylor Decker's future, well, that's where things start to get complicated. Man, things aren't sounding too hot for Taylor Decker right now. The veteran left tackle for the Lions has been grinding through a shoulder injury since week 1, but it looks like that pain finally caught up to him. He didn't suit up for Detroit's 37-24 win over the Bengals, and Dan Campbell's post-game update didn't exactly paint a rosy picture. Campbell basically said what no Lions fan wanted to hear. Decker's recovery is trending the wrong way. Every week the recovery has been less and less, he explained. He hasn't been able to quite catch up. There's diminishing returns each week. You could tell Campbell was frustrated just talking about it. The guy's clearly worried this thing might linger, and he made it sound like Decker's going to need real time off to get right. We just felt like we need to give this guy a little time, he said. Let's get this thing to calm down. Get some strength back in that shoulder so he feels good. That's coach speak for. This isn't a quick fix. And if Decker's hurting so bad that his recovery is actually slowing down week to week, that's a serious red flag for the long haul. With Decker out, the Lions rolled with second-year project Giovanni Manu at left tackle. The kid had some solid reps in the run game and showed flashes, but he also had a few rough ones that reminded everyone why he's still a work in progress. Campbell said it himself. Some good, some bad, but he'll learn from it. Detroit's clearly trying to patch things up on the fly. They signed Dan Skipper to the active roster and elevated Devin Cochran from the practice squad before the Bengals game. That's a lot of movement for one position, and it kind of screams, we're bracing for Decker to be out a bit. The problem is, Decker's not just another guy. He's the longest tenured Lion and one of the best left tackles in the league when healthy. He's been anchoring that line for years. Losing him for an extended stretch would be a massive hit, especially for a team that's trying to keep Jared Goff upright and their offense rolling. Campbell finished by saying they'll be cautious, even if that means sitting Decker longer than fans might like. I don't want to put Decker out there if it means we get a couple games and then lose him for the rest of the year, he said. It makes no sense. So we'll play this smart. And if Decker's situation is worrying, what just happened with Amon-Ra St. Brown also caught everyone off guard, and it just came out. The Lions are rolling right now. 4 straight wins, the offense looking like a buzzsaw, and they're about to step into primetime against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs on Sunday night. But before that big showdown, Detroit fans got a little scare when Amon-Ra St. Brown suddenly popped up on the injury report. The guy's been an absolute monster this season. Through 5 games, St. Brown's already leading all NFL wideouts with 6 touchdowns, racking up 407 yards on 35 catches. He's basically been Jared Goff's security blanket, cheat code, and hype man all rolled into one. The dude is just everywhere. In last week's win over the Bengals, he was his usual self. 8 catches, 100 yards, and no signs of slowing down. So when Wednesday's practice report showed he was sitting out with a wrist injury, you could practically hear the collective gasp from Detroit. Thankfully, the panic didn't last long. Less than 24 hours later, The Athletic's Colton Pouncey reported that St. Brown was back on the field Thursday, running routes like nothing happened. That's just classic Amon-Ra, though. The guy's built different. Toughness has been his brand since he entered the league. A physical wideout who takes hits, keeps grinding, and refuses to sit unless his body literally gives him no choice. He's missed only 2 games in 5 seasons, which is wild considering how often he's in traffic taking shots over the middle. The Lions' offense thrives on his energy. He's not just putting up numbers, he's setting a tone. His leadership and work ethic have been a huge part of this team's identity shift under Dan Campbell, from the lovable losers to legitimate contenders. St. Brown was there when Detroit snapped that 32-year playoff drought, and he's been a core piece of this whole grit and grind revival ever since. Now, with the Lions sitting at 4-1 and averaging a league-best 34.8 points per game, they're heading into Arrowhead with swagger. The Chiefs, meanwhile, are sitting at a surprising 2-3 and looking more vulnerable than usual. So yeah, the Lions got a brief injury scare this week, but it looks like their star wideout is good to go for Sunday night. And that's huge because if Amon-Ra St. Brown is on the field, Detroit's offense is never out of rhythm, and they'll need every bit of that firepower if they plan on out-dueling Mahomes in primetime. If the Lions want to stay in the hunt, they can't afford to lose guys like Decker or St. Brown. Warning lights are flashing. If you liked the video, hit subscribe so you don't miss any Lions updates.